Hello sewing friends. Yes, it's me in this odd position again, and yes, I have got this jacket on again. We'll talk about that in a minute, but welcome to today's episode, which is looking at my sewing wardrobe and how it compares to if I was still shopping on the high street. I popped a poll up because I was thinking about this on my Instagram account, and it was a unanimous, oh no, not unanimous, it was almost unanimous vote for yes, please do this. So here I am. Let's talk about how much my sewing wardrobe's costing versus if I was still shopping on the high street. Okay, let's start with what I'm wearing. I have on again this jacket. You've seen it before, you saw me make it if you're one of my actual followers, and it is based on the Paula workwear jacket, which is a free pattern from the fabric store, and it is definitely becoming one of my go-to items to put on when I'm working from home. The outfit I'm wearing was an outfit that I had on because I went out today as part of my job. I'll put a picture in here of what I was actually wearing. It's all second hand, no me made though, but I thought you might still want to see what I was wearing. The jacket was originally from Monsoon. I found it in a charity shop. I think it was 80s or 90s when I looked it up, because it came with a matching original dress, but it didn't fit me and I thought someone else could enjoy the dress, and they were sold separately. The trousers I've got on I found in the Oxfam Superstore, and they're super soft. I don't know what they are, but they're super soft. And the boots I found on Vinted. I think they were originally from Asda, and even the necklace came from a charity shop as well. I thought it just gave the outfit a bit of a lift. So thinking about how much my wardrobe now costs versus if I was still shopping in the high street, and this is where the thought came from, in case you think, why are you doing this? This is your hobby, why are you costing your hobby? Well, I realised I'd become a bit out of touch. It's a long time since I bought a dress in the shops where I used to buy dresses. So when I'm looking at fabric and deciding if I think fabric is expensive or not, I'd suddenly realised I didn't know how that equated to if I bought a dress. And I know over the last year or so, things have gone up quite a bit. I know that when I'm looking at food that I'm shopping, but I stopped looking at clothes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick an outfit I've made, pick an equivalent-ish, not spot on, but equivalent-ish in a shop where I would have bought it. I'm not suddenly going to start shopping in All Saints because I never have. But I do sometimes, or did sometimes, and still occasionally buy from small brands, so I will do a bit of that as well. Now, a couple of little sort of parameters I've set, sort of disclaimers. I am not calculating labour in this. Now, I have seen some amazing vlogs and Instagram accounts where people have even gone down to calculating the time in equivalent of labour, and I massively respect that. But for me, I'm not calculating that because the labour is the joy of my hobby. So that is free to me because it's not taking up time where I could be earning. Now, for someone else that might be, and it's also not taking up time where I would do something else more enjoyable. This is the enjoyment. There will be some rounding. Let's be clear, life is too short for me to do this absolutely precisely. And I will stick to shops that I used to buy from too. There is obviously a quality variation, but that is down to partly why a lot of us sew. And we'll see how we go. But this could be a really interesting thought, and at the end of it you might be like, that told me nothing, or actually I'm pretty surprised, and tell me your thoughts at the end. Right, let's start with a basic. So a sort of turtleneck basic that I throw under things at this time of year. I like to buy them. I used to buy them from Marks and Spencer's. So I make the Freya top, which is my equivalent of that. So here's a picture of a current Marks and Spencer's one, and the price popping up with it. And then Here's a picture of one I've made. Now this is pretty variable because I've made more than one and the price is massively varied. So I've got this one with a slightly more expensive fabric, this one with a pretty, almost probably the cheapest you can get unless you got it off a swaps table price. Okay, so let's have a look and see what we think about the pricing. Okay, so doing the maths, because that's what we're here for, and I love a bit of maths. I looked at the M&S cheap cotton jersey one, which was £12.50. I say cheap, I don't mean cheap, I mean it's cheaper from them. And that still comes in higher than the price, which I'll tell you for mine. And obviously the M&S collection one, which is the ribbed one, which we would buy nice ribbed fabric like that to do. And again, I chose a colour and a type that I would definitely wear, came in at £22.50. So I looked at the Freya top, and I only use a metre of fabric. I know it says 1.3, but I only use 1 metre. So 1 metre of fabric. The pound fabric I bought was £2.50 a metre. And the other jersey I bought was, let's be generous and say £7 a metre. So at £7 a metre plus some thread, which I costed at about £1 because I would do it all on my overlocker. So I'm using the 4 threads. And another £1 for other little bits, like if you put the tape on the shoulders to strengthen it, etc. And that's all we need for that. So at the more expensive end, the £7 a metre fabric, I don't spend more than that. I know people do, so we'll do one of those in a minute. Plus £2 more, so we're looking at £9. So that's still below the more budget one from M&S. I know it's M&S, so I know it's not budget. Obviously, if I go for the pound fabric one, that was £2.50 a metre, plus the other two, that's £4.50 a metre. So I'm way below the M&S collection one at £22.50. Now, some of the lovely, really high quality jerseys out there, I think, are about £12 a metre. So yes, and I've seen on Minerva £12 to £15. So let's say I had a little splurge and I went for a £15, it's £14.95 or something, Minerva one. So I went for a £15 bit of jersey plus my £2 for my other bits. I would come in at £17. So I would come halfway between the two price range points at Marks and Spencer's. Now I know that you can buy those kinds of basics for a lot less at Primark and other places like that, and that might be how you're comparing your price point. But for those basics, I would shop at M&S because I liked the quality of the feel of the fabric and I liked that they lasted and didn't fall apart. So actually what it's saying to me is, when I'm wrestling with the idea of paying Minerva prices, maybe I want to wait till Minerva's got a deal on, but it's a little bit less scary when I think about that with one of those basics that will come out year after year and I wear a lot in the winter. Okay, let's go next to dresses. You know I love a dress. I used to buy from a wide range, so I would buy right from a Primark dress if it really captured me, the fabric, to Marks and Spencer's. Let's have a think where I've bought dresses from H&M, and then I have gone for the treat sometimes, not so much these days, but I used to, where I bought a Scampan Dude dress. So looking just on Marks and Spencer's alone, I'm finding a dress that I want to wear. And I put some pictures in here. So this jersey twist front dress that I really liked was £59. So I found a printed V-neck's Midaxi, wasn't the most inspiring fabric, but that was £39.50, and then a slightly more inspiring one was £49.50. And then the other two where the fabrics really spoke to me were Nobody's Child, who I know is a dead stock fabric that sometimes comes up on Rainbow Fabrics, and they, even in the sale, were coming up at £71.20, £68 and £79. So we're looking at, from Marks and Spencer's, a dress costing me between sort of £45 to £50. Now, if I'm going to new look. Let's do new look. I'm going to put a new look dress in here, and then we'll do a little price for a new look. Okay, right. So I had a look on new look. This time of year, there's mahoosive amounts of Black Friday sales and things. I did find a couple of dresses that I liked. I didn't find it easy, to be honest, but a lot of them are 35 reduced to 27 in this Black Friday deal. I decided to hop over to Zara because I used to like finding clothes in Zara. I really struggled to find anything I liked, but I did find a shirt dress for £50 and like a velvet wrap type one for £45.99. Velvet and wrap is very in this year, I'm noticing. So let's start with sort of looking at a shirt dress style mid-axi dress that I've got. So I'll put the picture in here. This is one of my Patina Blouse hack dresses. I included piping and lots of layers on this one. So I used a full 3 meters on this dress. So this one was £5 a meter. So that's 3 meters of fabric. So that's £15. Then if we take the bias binding, let's say I used a whole pack. I didn't quite, but let's say I did. So we'll say, I'm rounding up here. So let's say £3 for that. I'm going to put another £2 in for thread because there was a lot of gathering. And I've got some snaps on the front. So I'm going to add £1 on for the 3 snaps I used on the front. So that's £21 I spent on that dress. So that's not even at the new look price point, but I know not all fabric is £5 a metre. So let's take one of my by Grisalia jersey twist front dresses. So I'm using just shy of 2 meters, depending on whether I put sleeves on or not for those, and just thread. I didn't say about pattern. So the Patina blouse pattern, if I was going to add a cost on for pattern, I've already done 6 or 7. So we're looking at a couple of pounds for the pattern there as well. So even if I add that on, we're at £23. Okay, so sorry about that. The Freya top that I talked about before, really hard because it's in a whole book. I've made loads from the book, so I don't really know how to wear that one out. I'm not going to. So now let's do the twist front dress. Now I created that pattern myself, so we could say 0 price, but if we took a pattern that's like it, like I think it's the Estelle dress, and I think I've made 4 or 5 of these now in different versions. So again, let's say the pattern was £12. We're looking at about, let's go for £2.50 for the pattern. I'm going to go for £2 for overlocking thread because I only used an overlocker. And then we need the by Grisalia fabric price. Again, I bought it on offer. So I can't 100% remember, but I think I paid between £12 and £15 a metre. I definitely waited till they had an offer on. I've just had a look and their fabric at the moment is actually £9 for half a metre. Excuse me. So that would be £18 obviously for a metre. So I'm going to say that I used 2 metres of fabric. I know I used a bit under, but let's be sort of rounded here. So if I paid £15 for the fabric per metre, which I'm pretty sure is close to what I did, 14 or 15, let's say that's £30 for the fabric and £4.50 for the pattern, remembering I didn't actually use a pattern, but so that would be £34.50 for the twist front jersey dress. If I have a look at the velvet dresses with the twist front and things that I saw, the autograph one was £59 and the one in Zara was £45.99. If I took the full price, but if you bought it right now on by Grisalia at £18 a metre, that would be £36. That would be £40.50 in total. And that includes, again, a pattern that you use multiple times. We're still below the price that there is out there for those. Now, I've seen lovely velvet jersey fabric for about £12 a metre. Again, if I went on Minerva, they've got those amazing velvet jerseys right now. Let's go for £14. I think that's what they are. Let me check. Correction, the Minerva exclusive, I'm putting a picture in here because it is pretty amazing fabric. The Minerva exclusive celestial motion crushed velvet stretch knit fabric, that is literally the name of it, is actually £19.99 per metre, but on Minerva you don't have to buy whole meters of fabric. And also I am a Minerva like club or craft club member or whatever it's called, so let's pop that in. Let's have a look. So I have got, so that would be for 1.8 meters, which is what I would need, and I know your height can affect that. It would be £35.98 with my craft club discount would be £32.38, and then if we add the £4.50 on, we're looking at £46.88. Okay, did I say 40? £36.88. My goodness. So we're still looking under the price of the two that I found. So this is really reassuring me when I'm lusting after these gorgeous fabrics and thinking that is too much money. I'm not suddenly going to be going queen of the splurge, because I would have to sew less. Because I would buy less if I was buying ready to wear because of the price, or I'd be waiting for sales. But it's quite interesting, isn't it, that even when I'm already looking at the price of fabric and going, actually, I think this may not be my hobby right now costing more than if I was buying ready to wear like I used to. Now, not like I do now, and that's something completely different. Right, I did a bit of sweater shopping. I don't own a lot of sweatshirts, but the ones I own I wear a lot when I wear sweatshirts. We can't count this because this fabric was off a swap stable, so we won't work out the price of this one. So I went and had a look at two places where I've actually bought sweatshirts from before. One of those is Scamp and Dude. I'll put a top in here. I love their matching sweatshirt and joggers, and like usual, I always buy those when they're on offer. So at full price £65, but on offer at £45.50. I only own one and had one as a present, so let's be clear, I haven't got a lot of them, but I love them because of the work that they do. If you want to read that. I do own, and you've seen it, my pink Zilla Kids jumper, and I own another one. Again, we're talking like a purchase once every couple of years. A small business, she does amazing things, local business one in Brighton, vary, but I'm going to say £50. But I also went for contrast onto Marks and Spencer's and had a look, and simple, straightforward, plain colour sweatshirt, £30, or an animal print one, cozy animal print one, £35. Pretty sure if it went in Primark, probably when it's on offer, I could probably get one for about £20. So I would say 1.5 meters of fabric for a sweatshirt. So that allows for like decent length sleeve, balloon sleeve, etc. I'm going to go with ribbing as well for the neck and the cuff. Thread. I don't think we need anything else, do we? Oh, pattern, right. So I'm going to go with the Stella sweatshirt pattern that I've got in the Till in the Buttons book. I didn't do it with the Freya, but I'll do it with this. I'm going to put £1 because I have sewn several of the Stella sweaters, several Stella joggers down there. So I'm going to go for £1 for the pattern. I'm going to go for £2 for thread. I'm going to go for £5 for ribbing, because it depends on what ribbing you buy to how much that would cost. So 1.5 meters of fabric. I've bought sweatshirt fabric from Pound Fabrics for £5 a metre, so that would be £7.50. Or I've bought, let me have Abercon. I bought some sweatshirt fabric from Abercon, and I think that was about £8 a metre, so we'll go with £12 for that. So at the lower end, £7 plus £5, that's £12.50, 13, 14, £15.50 at the lower end. At the upper end, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20. But again, let's have a little look on Minerva, shall we? So we want a Minerva jersey. Bear with. Okay, let's go for a Minerva core range fleeced back sweatshirt stretch knit fabric, because we want comfort, we want snuggle. They've got it in a lot of colours. So I said 1.5 meters. So 1.5 meters of that would come up, and I'm going to keep my Minerva Club discount on there, would come up at £25.64, and I've never paid that much for a sweatshirt, but let's go for that because, you know, we're doing this out of interest. So £25.64 plus 5, 6, 7, 8 plus £8 would be £33.64. That is a bit more than the M&S basic one. Obviously quite a bit more than if we bought one in Primark, but I don't think the M&S one was fleece backed, but nowhere near like the Scamp and Dude one. So what we're finding again is, yes, okay, we could, so my computer's over here where I'm looking at the things for you. So we could go to fast fashion places and buy things for cheaper sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Does sewing save me money? No, because this doesn't include the buying fabric when I see it. But is sewing making my clothes more expensive than buying them in the shops? I'm not sure. I often buy vintage clothes, so thinking back to dresses, some of the vintage dresses I say often, I used to, I don't anymore. I was paying sort of £45, £35 to £45 when I used to buy them for vintage dress. That sort of fits in with our calculations of sort of where we were, and I'm sure some of them are more now. What has this exercise taught me? What it's taught me is it's good that I'm frugal, because I am bringing the price of my clothes down, whatever my other half thinks. But part of making it a better value wardrobe is I do need to make sure the patterns I buy I get a lot of use out of. So for example, if I buy a pattern and only sew it once, that is going to hugely push up the price, because let's say the Westcliff dress what I bought, again I bought it when Friday Pattern Company had an offer on, so I think I got it for about £10. So then add the price of the fabric, which was £5 a metre. I needed 2.5 meters, so that would be £12.50. So that's £22.50. So it's about £25 for that dress if I only sew that one time with that pattern. If I then use that pattern again and again, it is bringing the price down. But what I have to be aware of in this, I think, is if I'm buying patterns and not using them, somehow I have to factor that cost in. Now, I could say, well, that's just my hobby cost, and when I sew it, that's my clothing cost. I don't know about you all, but I used to do like a budget on how much each month I'd spend on like clothing and cosmetics and things, and don't anymore for lots of reasons, but I wouldn't always spend it, but that was what was allocated. So I suppose I could do clothing, hobby, so then if I'm buying things for my hobby but they're not for clothing, that would be okay, but then I'm just getting all in a tangle there with that. So I think what I've learned is I need to sow my stash to make my clothing be the value that I'm saying it is right here. And then maybe once I have sown my stash, is when I buy things, I know what I'm going to sew them into, and then I will be able to perhaps buy something that feels a little bit more indulgent, because I know specifically then that actually this is going to become a sweatshirt that in reality I would have bought for this price in the shop, but because I have a gap in my wardrobe for sweatshirt, then this is actually better value, but I can buy a fabric I really like. I think that's what I'm learning from this. I don't know what you're learning from this. I'd love to hear in the comments what you've thought about this. I certainly do not want to destroy the joy of my hobby, because a lot of this is about helping my mental health, helping me to feel happy, helping to reset my brain when I'm having a difficult time, and giving me something that I can focus on. It also, what we haven't factored in here is the joy. There is a huge amount of joy I get from the creation. I've always been a creative person, so you can go great. And so there's a big joy in the creating of the item, which I suppose we should take off the cost as like something for my personal, my soul, but what I've got to keep doing, and I know you keep hearing me talking about this, is not be a fast fashion sewer, but sew the things that I will wear, the things that work in my wardrobe, and things that are not just going to sit there and get wasted. Because I was watching Martin Lewis on ITV the other day, and he was saying, if you buy something in the Black Friday deals and you was going to buy it anyway, then you've saved 50% or whatever the offer is. But if you buy something in the Black Friday deals that you weren't going to buy, you've wasted 100% of the money. And I think that's true of my sewing and how I want to view it. If I sew it and get joy from it, that in itself is worth something. If I sew it, get joy from it, and wear it and get joy, then it's worth it. But if I sew it and then beat myself up that I don't wear it, which can happen because I don't like things hanging around and clogging up when I don't wear them, then that is a waste of money. And so like this, I put this on almost every day when I get back from, if I've been out to work or everything, and I feel snug and warm. So I've got to keep, like I did when I reviewed my summer clothes, I've got to keep paying attention to what I wear, when I wear it, and why it works, and keep that kind of sewing going, because that is how I'm going to create a wardrobe and have a hobby that is not a complex, tangled mess of ethics and all sorts for me. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts, and whether you'd like me to do this again another time with some other things in another season maybe, because obviously the season we're in is maybe a more costly season because of the types of fabric that we're buying. And maybe in the summer, sort of like polycottons and flimsy things need less fabric and that sort of thing. But I'd be really interested. I hope you have a great week, and I'll catch you soon.